Belgium, Brazil, Congo, UK and all over the USA to crowds from 14 to 40,000. International leadership speaker, trainer and coach. Author of Learn to Raw Leadership, Attitude Hack, Live a More Excellent Life, 5 Battle Strategies of a Victorious Warrior. 2021 President's Lifetime Achievement Award recipient. Founding partner of the John Maxwell team. Toastmaster International Speech Competition semi-finalist. Founder of Tell It Like It Is TV, ThatGuyRocks.com and ThatGuySpeaks.com. Creator of Story Power TV, Transforming Grace TV, and Leading Leaders Podcast. Producer of 4 TV programs and podcasts for Liftable TV and World Trumpet Television as well as multiple social media channels. Please help me welcome J Loren Norris.
If you've ever seen someone rule by fear, oh, the market's going to crash. The process will be too complicated. It'll take too much money. You can't afford that. If you do that, you could lose your job over this. You better get that or It's amazing how those declarations of intimidation can direct your life. People use fear to cause you to do what they want you to do, usually because they know it's the only control they have over you. And fear will always rule the day until a leader steps in with courage. What's better than a leader who has courage? Courage that's multiplied through mindset. That's what I'm going to talk about in this episode of Leading Leaders.
Subscribe now for our extensive video library of leadership lessons promoting faith, family, and freedom.
I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast, and I spent a large part of my life with a mindset that said, the rich get richer, the poor go broke, and it's the rich's fault. And there's a whole cascade of fear that sits behind that. The honest fear, and I've had the days where I wanted to hide my vehicle for fear that the repo man was going to come get my car in the middle of the night. I have woken up with my car's gone from my driveway and had to call the bank and go, what gives with this? We hadn't missed any payments, but they heard we were trading them in and they were afraid we were going to not get the full payoff on them. And so the bank repossessed them. It's happened. I've been there. I've lived in that fear. I've lived in that fear of every time you hear the diesel vehicle idling down the street, you're wondering, is that a tow truck? Is that a repo man? Are they coming to get my car? I've lived in that fear. I know what it's like. I've lived in the fear of I could lose my house. I'm not going to have a place to live. I don't know what's coming next. And there is nothing worse in life than the fear and the anxiety that produces when the unknown is staring you in the face. A leader, though, that has mastered their mindset or is in the process of mastering the mindset has an entirely different way of approaching that. I've recently been listening to some people who challenge the way I think. And one of those comments was, spend 95% of your time asking the question, how could I generate more income? That's a question that flies in the face of anyone who has a regular day job, because in a regular day job, the answer to that question is only, I got to get a raise or I got to work more time. And if you're already stretched to your limits with the amount of time that you're working, and you've already gotten more raises than anybody else in your company, those two factors probably are not going to sit well with your boss. Well, then maybe the next question is, maybe I could get a part-time job. Now, I can tell you for a fact, there was a season that I had a full-time job, working 50, 60 hours a week on salary, traveling around the country. And when I was back in town, I had a part-time job at the local grocery store as a front-end manager and as a cashier. I also had a part-time job when I wasn't working at the grocery store delivering pizzas around the corner. And on the weekends, my wife and I did a thing with kids in a kids event as a side hustle. I had 4 jobs at one time for over 2 years and still had the fear that my truck was going to get repossessed. See, just having the extra income doesn't always solve the problem. Sometimes the fear itself is the bigger problem than the income. But see, the same person that said spend the majority of your time asking the question, how could I generate more revenue, simultaneously said, spend less time worrying about how will I pay the bills. Now, that seems really counterintuitive because it almost sounds like you're being irresponsible. It's not irresponsible. It's a shift in mindset. Why? Because mindset has a direct relationship to energy. And I don't just mean the energy in the world. I mean the biomechanical and chemistry energy in your body. Your biochemistry directly relies on fear or the lack thereof. Here's an interesting thing I heard the other day. I was listening to a great conversation between Dr. Jordan Peterson and another neuroscientist. Now, Jordan Peterson is a psychiatrist, psychologist, spends a lot of time studying the body, but the neuroscience and the neurochemistry as well, and how all those go together. And as they were discussing anticipation, they brought up a revelation that I had never heard before, but holy cow, is it important. What they said is if you look at a baseline of life, your regular day, your mood, your emotions, your neurochemical state, if there's a baseline of your average day, and anticipation comes in. Maybe it's anticipation for a date, or it's anticipation for a great dinner, or it's anticipation of a vacation, or it's anticipation of, oh, I know I'm about to get my dark chocolate and my cup of coffee for the morning. I'm headed to the cafe. And then you get to the cafe. That anticipation is rising from the baseline. It's rising, rising, rising. And you pull on the door to the cafe, the coffee shop, that favorite place where you're going to get your dark chocolate and your hot cocoa, and it's locked. Well, see, here's what doesn't happen. You don't go from baseline to anticipation, 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 and back to baseline. Nope. That lack of delivery of the anticipation, that disappointment, doesn't go up, back to zero. It goes up, and then down below zero. The chemicals in your body that lead to that anticipation, the endorphins and the dopamine rush, and all of those things that come with the anticipation of this is going to be incredible, when it doesn't pan out, when it doesn't deliver what it's supposed to, suddenly you find yourself way below zero in negative emotions. Negative, toxic chemistry going on in your body because the anticipation became a massive letdown. Now, if you've raised toddlers at all, you know you can see this in their face. They will tell you with their eyeballs. Usually they'll start leaking. They'll tell you with their tone of voice. Usually they'll start whining. Sometimes they'll throw themselves on the floor in a temper tantrum because they didn't get their way. It's that chemistry of the rise of anticipation and the collapse of disappointment. Now see, as a everyday person, we deal with that, well, every day. Every day we anticipate something great happening, and we find disappointment. Maybe it's in relationships, maybe it's in the job, maybe it's the sale you were trying to close, maybe it was the purchase you were trying to make. And as those things rise in anticipation and collapse and disappointment, it begins to affect our mindset. And here we come back to fear. We're afraid of building up the anticipation because we've been disappointed so many times. And so the opportunities that come to us to generate a little extra revenue, the opportunities of business, the opportunities of new relationship, the promotion, the new education, the new things we might add to our life, to our arsenal to generate more opportunity, we're afraid that the anticipation will end in disappointment. And so we simply refuse anticipation. See, the person who said to me, spend more time focused on how to generate revenue than time you spend on how to pay the bills. That wasn't a 60-40 ratio or a 55-45 ratio or a 42-48 ratio or 58 ratio. No, it wasn't any of that. It was a 95-5. He said spend 95% of your time asking the question, how could I generate more revenue? And 5% of your time worrying about getting the bills paid. Because when you've spent that much time and emotional energy asking the question, how could I produce more? How could I generate more opportunity, more productivity, more success? When you spend 95% of your time focused on that, what do you think you get? Remember, when it comes to mindset, our behavior follows our mindset. Our mindset drives us to do things, sometimes even subconsciously. That's why we don't stare at oncoming headlights when we're driving at night. Because as you're staring at the headlights, your body wants to go in the direction of your subconscious mind, which is right between the headlights. That's a very dangerous thing. Now, if you realize that that happens in your financial position, that happens in your relationships, that happens in your career, that happens in your education, if you're constantly subconsciously allowing the fear to position you at the subnormal level, the fear is telling you, don't anticipate anything great, you're just going to be disappointed anyway. Don't anticipate a new sale, a new career, a new opportunity, a new relationship, a new learning. Don't anticipate those things because you're just going to get disappointed. If you're allowing your subconscious mind to do that, it's driving you into the ground already. If 5% of your thinking is the realism of, okay, I still got to pay the bill, here's the date that it's due, let me not just generate the revenue, but make sure it's allocated to cover that. But I'm not going to worry about the bill. I'm going to worry about where the new money is coming from. And that's not worry, that's anticipation. I'm anticipating new opportunity. I'm anticipating new relationships. I'm anticipating driving new revenue. When a leader works around a group of people that have surrendered their mindset to the opportunities of success, the entire environment changes. It's multiplied through mindset. It's not just a matter of saying, I have hope and it's a vain hope, or I have hope and it's going to be better because I have a great attitude. While there is a lot of truth to that, believe it or not, that mindset is multiplied through other people. And that courage to get up and go do, that courage to get out and start again, that courage to take 25 no's before the first yes comes, that's the kind of courage that allows that yes to be more valuable than 100 moderate yeses. It's that yes that comes at the end of 25 no's that you go, yay. No, it's like, yeah, more of those. But you realize you're going to have 25 more no's to get to that yes. That win, that success is a multiplier. And when that's multiplied by mindset, because the people you work with, the people you encourage, the people you lead, the people you influence, have caught on to this contagion called success. They've caught on to this contagion called, I anticipate that my day is going to get better. It may have sucked so far, but I'm not done yet. And if I'm not done yet, I still have a chance to change my attitude, change my approach, and take another no. And another one. Maybe it's the 30th or the 57th or the 109th no that leads to the yes that changes your life forever. But if you stop on the second no or the third no, or heaven forbid, fear own you, fear rule your day, and therefore you never even ask the question to get a no. If it's the 10th no or the 15th no or the 22nd no, will you still ask the question 24 times until you get a yes? Well, that's completely up to you. But if you've got a good leader in your life, then you have a leader who's going to face those fears, that fear of anticipation and disappointment, is going to face those with you with the courage to say, hey, I still got your back. Maybe you did get 27 no's, 52 no's, 108 no's. But you're 108 no's closer to the one big yes that will change your life forever. So keep asking. One of those yeses is going to change everything. Keep asking. Keep knocking. Keep seeking. Maybe you've heard that before. It's when you quit, when you give up, when you decide, I don't want to anticipate for fear that I'll be disappointed. That's the day that fear owns you. And there are a lot of people who are really adept at manipulating you through fear. The fear that you'll lose your car, the fear that you'll lose your house, the fear that you'll lose your favorite relationship or your best sweater. Don't give them that power. Through your mindset, you can develop your own courage. You can surround yourself with people who have courage. Let me tell you something. When you've lost everything and you get the opportunity to start over again, your perspective changes. It's when you live your life in fear of losing what you do have that you never get a chance to grab what's next and what's better. There are a lot of millionaires and billionaires out there who will tell you there was a season they slept in mom and dad's garage or in their own car, or they were straight up homeless. Brendan Burchard talks about his girl having to clean off the bed with his bills on it for his girl to be able to go to bed because he couldn't figure out how to make a paycheck. Others have talked about living on their sister's couch before they found the path to their millions. But it was the courage that said, I don't care if it's 1 no, 25 no's, 250 no's, or 25,000 no's. I'll keep asking until I find the yes that changes my life. That's a courage that is built in natural leaders and multiplied through mindset. Get you some. And if you can't get your own just yet, get around people who have it. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day and have some courage.
Loren is a master teacher on storytelling, and I learned so much. I'm really going to have to sit down and go back through everything, and I think I might have to have some more coffees with Loren, but it was totally worth my time, and I really highly recommend it if you're looking to grow your ministry, grow your business, grow your career. Loren will serve you well.
Thank you.